Hi, I'm Roger Humphrey, and this is an introduction to the fundamentals of music reading. Although these fundamentals can apply to any musical instrument, I'm a guitar player, so I'll be teaching from that point of view. There are a lot of people who've learned how to play without learning how to read music, and now they either want or need to learn. Let me try to demystify the system for you. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. So the basis of rhythm and keeping time begins with the beat. It's just this regular occurring pulse within the music. You probably tap your foot to it. And basically what it is a way of determining how long we're going to play a note, whether we're going to hold on to it for a very long time or if we're going to subdivide it and play very quick notes. But the beat is to music what the second is to a clock. It is the smallest unit of time. We can have 60 seconds turning into a minute, etc., but we can't have anything smaller than a second. We can have a tenth of a second or a half a second or something like that, where we're subdividing it, but we don't have a unit smaller than that. I have here a metronome. You've probably seen these. Its only job is to go tick-tock. That's it. And in this particular case, I've got this set at 60, which means it's ticking one time per second, 60 times per minute. It's variable speed. I can make it go faster. I can make it go slower, So I have, and that speed is referred to as tempo. Now there are other kinds of metronomes. You've probably seen the old-fashioned kind. We'll get my old one out here. This is a mechanical one. It winds up and it has this pendulum. And I have this one set at 60 also. There are also apps that you can download for free and put on your phone, so whatever you'd like. But a metronome really does help. I haven't met anybody who really likes using a metronome at first. They're very distracting and very annoying, and everybody thinks that they're messing them up. Probably are to some extent, but they really help. Every musician that I know that plays well uses a metronome of some kind. So that's what we want to start doing, is a metronome. So the next thing we have to look at is the shape of the note. That tells us whether the note is supposed to be held for a long time or if it's to be played quickly. And this is all, of course, measured by the beats. So the shape of the note, we have this one here. It's called a whole note, and it sort of looks like a donut. And then we have the half note, which sort of looks like a whole note, except it's got this line on it, this stem. The quarter note, which looks like the half note, except it's all filled in. And then the eighth note, which looks like the quarter note, except it has this flag. We refer to this as a flag on the side here. If you take a look, everything's dividing by 2. We go from whole to half to quarter to eighth. It takes 2 half notes to make a whole note. It takes 2 quarter notes to make a half note, 4 quarter notes to make a whole note, and it takes 2 eighth notes to make a quarter note, 4 eighth notes to make a half note, and 8 eighth notes to make a whole note. So music is broken up into chunks, into sections, if you will. Each section is referred to as a measure. And this line is referred to as a bar line. It works like a fence. That's all it does, is it does the breaking. So we have measures created by placing bar lines across the music. At the beginning of every song, there will be 2 numbers, right at the very beginning of the first line. One on top, one on the bottom. The top number tells us how long the measure is going to be. It tells us how many beats in every measure. That means that every measure is going to last exactly the same number of beats. The bottom number tells us which one of these notes is going to be worth 1 beat. And a combination of all of that, all of these notes, would have to equal whatever this number is here. No more, no less. So if we had a 4 on the bottom here, that would indicate that our quarter note would be worth 1 beat. If that's the case, then 2 quarters make a half, so the half note would be worth 2 beats. 4 quarters make a whole, so that means the whole note would last for 4 beats. and the eighth note would only be a half a beat each. Everything is either multiplying or dividing by 2. If this bottom number were a 2, then the half note itself would get 1 beat, and the whole note would get 2 beats. The quarter note would be a half a beat, and it would take 4 eighth notes to make 1 beat, so you have to be pretty quick here. Let's see how all of that looks. So music is broken up into chunks, into sections, if you will. Each section is referred to as a measure, and this line is referred to as a bar line. It works like a fence. That's all it does, is it does the breaking. So we have measures created by placing bar lines across the music. So here we see a piece of music. We have 4 measures. You can see 4 sections here with our bar lines in the middle. We have quarter notes, and we take a look over here at our time signature. We have 4 over 4. This is probably the most common time signature. Most of your popular music is written this way. So that means that we have 4 beats in every measure, and the quarter note gets 1 beat. 4 beats in every measure, quarter note gets 1 beat. We see this here. I've set the quarter note so that it sets, we get 1 beat per second, or 60 beats per minute. So that's what this is set up. Let's see what this sounds like with these notes. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we had 4 equal beats throughout each measure, and we had 4 measures, of course. So here we have the same settings, but now we're doing half notes. Well, what's going to happen here? Well, what will happen is that each note will be only played once, but it will be allowed to ring through the extra beat. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're allowing the note to ring for 2 beats instead of 1 beat. Let's take a listen to that one more time. Still 4 beats. And here we have our same settings, 4 beats in every measure, and the quarter note gets a beat, which means the whole note is going to ring for 4 entire beats. It's going to take up the entire measure. Let's take a listen. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all of the beats are there, but now this note lasts much longer. Let's take one more listen. And finally, here are our eighth notes. Now, these look a little different than the eighth notes I showed you a few minutes ago. A singular eighth note would have that little tail on it like we had, but when we draw them, a bunch of them together, we tie them together with this beam. It's much easier and it's much cleaner to read that way. So that's why we do that. But it's still the same eighth note. So here you'll notice that although we have 4 beats in every measure, we have 8 notes in every measure. So we can see that this is going to go, a little quicker. Let's take a quick peek and let's turn on the metronome so we can hear it with the metronome. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll listen to that one more time. So these are the fundamentals of how these notes are written and read. Let's see what happens when we start mixing and matching a bunch of stuff. So now what I've done, as you can see, is I've taken regular notes and I've moved those into different places. So we're messing with the pitch, and you'll see that we're messing with the rhythm as well. Every measure has 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So there's 4 beats there, although there's only 3 notes. There are 4 beats here with 8 eighth notes going on. And then we have this again. This is the familiar song, Hot Cross Buns. So this is how we are able to take pitch and rhythm and jumble things up, and we're able to get all kinds of really cool songs based on that. So this is the fundamentals of how this is done. So this is the companion video to the video on pitch that I've done. And it is to be used in conjunction and to give you just an understanding, a fundamental understanding of the concept of how music is written. This is by no means comprehensive. It was never intended to be. If you would like to know more about how to read music for a guitar, you can do so by going to www.rogerhumphrey.com. And if you go to the resources page, you'll find everything on that resources page is free, and you will find books on how to read music for the guitar, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So I hope these help. And please, if you're playing other instruments, seek out other players who play those instruments for additional help. Thank you.